lesson on adding and subtracting integers using counting tiles. These are manipulatives which I use in the classroom, and if you don't have counting tiles, which I'm sure most people don't, you can really use anything. Strips of paper, bottle caps, well, really anything. As long as you have two different groups and they are different colors. What I did was I said yellow is going to be positive and red is going to be negative. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to use these. I'm going to say I'm going to add different things. So 3 plus 2. Now everybody knows that 3 plus 2 is 5, but that's fine. All I'm going to do is I'm saying, all right, I have 3 positives, and I'm going to add 2 positives. And obviously that tells me that I have 5 positives. So that's it. That's as easy as it is. I'm going to start with my next one here is 3 positives, and I'm going to add 2 negatives. Well, 1 negative, 2 negatives. And now you can see over here I said a positive and a negative add to 0. So if this adds to 0, those go away and those go away, I'm only left with 1 positive. So let's see. I wonder if this. Oh, good. Excellent. Now here comes the next part, which is a little bit confusing. The next one says, I'm starting with 3 positives. I'm going to take away 2 positives. Actually, that's not confusing at all. Well, if I start with 3 positives, and I'm going to take away 2 positives, 1, 2, I'm left with 1 positive. And I think that's probably the easiest one to understand ever. So what you might realize is if you're taking away a positive, that's just the same as subtracting. And if you're adding negative, that's also the same as subtracting. Well, here I'm going to start with 3 positives, which I have. And I'm going to take away 2 negatives. Well, I don't have 2 negatives to take away. As you can see, all I have are 3 positives. So what's the opposite of taking away 2 negatives? Well, adding 2 positives. So if I start with 3 positives and I want to take away 2 negatives, I can't. So I'm going to add 2 positives, which gives me a total of 5 positives. All right. Well, let's say, what if we start with the 3 negatives? 1, 2, 3. If I start with 3 negatives, I'm going to add 2 positives. 1, 2. Once again, I'm just left with 1 negative. All right, so that's good. If I start with 3 positives and I add 2 negatives, well, I'm adding 2 more negatives. So I'm starting with 3 bad things happening to me, and I'm adding 2 more bad things to happen to me. That's in total 5 negatives. Negative 5. Put these back. If I start with 3 negatives, which I have, and I'm going to take away 2 positives. Well, I can't take away 2 positives because I don't have any positives here. I just have 3 negatives. So what's the opposite of taking away 2 positives? How about adding 2 negatives? And once again, you'll see that now I'm left with 5 negatives. And last one, if I have 3 negatives, which I do, and I'm going to take away 2 negatives, negative, take away 2 negatives, I'm left with clearly just 1 negative. The idea here is I'm not giving you any tricks of the trade. I'm not telling you any secrets. I'm getting you to understand what it is you're doing. And if you understand what it is you're doing, you'll start to see the pattern. I don't want to give that away because that's for you to learn. All right, I hope this video helps you. I'm going to do another video on using a number line to do the same exact thing. Thanks.